Hey everybody. Hey everybody. We are live this afternoon. It is Friday. I think it's Friday. I think it's April 3rd. Is that
It
true?
is April 3rd.
The only thing that I know it's April 3rd is because today's the day the Triple P loans go live. Or did they? Well, some did. And some are coming online as the day has progressed. So I bank with Wells Fargo. It is still not up yet. Their page, their status is showing that they are still working through all the background stuff, building up all the framework, and they will get that up and let us know when they will be available to take our applications. But I just heard that Chase is now up. I've heard that BOA is up, Regions is up. But remember, the banks are only working with people that have accounts with them. Now, BOA is throwing in another curve into that, saying you not only have to have a bank account, but a line of credit or a credit card. So that's new, and banks are going to do what they do. But I am so happy today because I'm not sitting here by myself. I have my lovely wife, Wendy, here. And I want her to go ahead and introduce herself, tell you a little bit about her and what she does. So,
Well, I'm Wendy Kimmelman, and I am Jay's wife. I have been a registered nurse for a little over 20 years, and my background was in trauma, ICU, and ER, and I did a good little bit of disaster management in my lifetime. But several years ago, I went back to school to finish my master's in mental health counseling, and I've been working on a practice and just trying to support people in the community to be their best selves. I work with a lot of healthcare providers. I still have a lot of friends that are healthcare providers, but I work with my husband from time to time because really stress affects us all. It doesn't matter whether we're working in a hospital or working in a bank or have our own business. We all are affected by stress, and it affects our businesses. So this is sort of a natural intersection for my husband and I's business. So we thought we'd get together today, and so this is the family business. We've been talking about, our daughter is running the board today, and the two of us are going to try to talk about things that intersect and hopefully provide something that's helpful to somebody.
yeah, so like Wendy said, this is a family thing because, as you all know, Abby's been running the board for about 2 weeks now, and she's really figuring it out. Today's a test because we have different camera angles. We got a few other things in there, so we're working through it. But, the thing we really want to talk about today is, working together as a team, and this is a topic for another day. I think we can actually get into this another day, is husbands and wives working together. Now you are thrust into the house together for, I was about to say forever, but it's not forever.
There's no escape.
We know that there will be an end to this, but we are here together, and we know that this can be very stressful. I mean, families have been pushed into this. Not only are we working at home, but we're also learning at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds another component to it. So we have people that are not used to working at home, having to work at home, having to work at home with their spouse and their kids, and all the different, I want to say, triggers. So
Look at you using those healthy words.
yeah, so just wanted to throw that out there, and let's see where it takes us. Let's talk a little bit about that stress and what we can do to alleviate it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the things I'm noticing a lot right away is Jay's used to working from home all the time, and I think he's probably got a routine that he follows most days. So for a little while, Abby and I are sort of getting in the way of that. We're interrupting. We are kind of in his space, and so that's definitely cause for some frustration. But along with that, certainly something everybody's experienced is finding a way to give a space for your kid to homeschool. We designated a space for Abby upstairs. She's done a really good job with that. But sometimes I try to go in the bedroom and do appointments with my clients online. So we've all got sort of a separate space, but sometimes we go looking for each other and interrupt something, and it's awkward and a little strange. So I think everybody's having to kind of navigate that, and it's caused a few problems for us. So we've had to really stop most days and just check in and talk to each other about what do you need today? What space do you need? What do you have going on? Jay put a sign outside his office that says meeting in progress, which, we probably should have had that a long time ago, but, really sort of designating, I'm in the middle of something and I'd like to not be interrupted for a while. We certainly have a kid that's middle school age. You can do that. For those of you out there that have younger children, I'm going to assume that's a lot harder to just say, I need to work for 30 minutes or an hour without interruption. I'm sure that's not something that you're able to do. And again, that's one of those things that creates more stress for everybody. So I'm wondering how people are dealing with that.
I don't know, but sometimes the sign isn't working. Like, they forget to switch it.
So what Abby's saying, sometimes I forget to switch that sign. So I think for the last 2 days it says meeting in progress.
You've been in a meeting for
because
2 days.
Of course, getting some true mental health.
Yeah.
I have been in meetings pretty much the last 2 days straight. So, but let's add in the fourth component of the family, and that is our dog as well.
Okay.
So right before we went online, we were talking about, where's Lily and what are we going to do if she does her usual thing, which some of you have seen it.
She's on the feedback.
Some of you have seen it. She has actually gone crazy at some points. But you know what? It's all part of being here and doing this. It's just natural. It's kind of like that BBC moment, We'll just let it happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens when it happens.
Oh, it has happened many a times. And we talked about having meetings. There are things that we cannot control. So my desk is right up against my window, and for a time I was doing a Facebook Live at a specific time on a specific day. Well, it appeared that was the time the lawn care company decided to come by and go right past my window every time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know what? Let's make a shift there. Don't let that impact you, because you know what? That's something I can't control anyway.
I think that's a really good point, and I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this, and there's been all kinds of really great memes out there, but being able to really separate what it is you control versus what you can't control is one way to manage some of the difficult stress. So, there's a lot of things that I get wound up about, and if I sit and think about them for a few minutes, it usually requires some deep breaths. Today I've been practicing alternate nostril breathing, which if you haven't learned how to do it, I highly recommend it. But it is a way to just sort of settle and get real clear about what can I control, what can I control. And I can't always control when the dog loses it or when the lawn company decides to do something right in front of a video meeting. And I can't control when the internet goes down. I mean, these are things that are outside of my control. Certainly they create some frustration and definitely some strong feelings. For those of you that follow my Facebook page, I posted a couple weeks ago a big picture of a feeling wheel. It's a great resource if you don't know what a feeling wheel is. We'll throw some of these things out there for you guys if you want resources later. But the feeling wheel is one of the top. It has a list of all these different feelings that you might be dealing with. But at the top of it, it says you can't control what feelings come, but you can control which ones you're going to surf. So, and I think that's just a good reminder for all of us to sort of think about what it is, really recognizing what's in my control, what's outside of my control, and not jumping on those uncontrollable things and surfing them to the end.
Lord knows I sometimes don't realize what I can and can't control, and I let that get the best of me. And luckily I have somebody here that talks me down and has taught me some of the better ways to deal with that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I think being married to somebody that, is it hard being married to somebody that does this? Because I think sometimes, I never mean to sound patronizing or minimizing or whatever, but do I sometimes sound like I'm doing that to you?
I wouldn't say that, but sometimes I feel that whatever I'm doing is being analyzed. And that's okay, because, as Abby's shaking her head, so...
Oh, my daughter's shaking her head too.
That.
Does that mean sometimes you feel like you're being analyzed?
The other thing.
What, that I'm minimizing stuff that you think is important? Oh, see? Listen, we've all got opportunities for improvement here. And I will tell you that one of the things I've always thought about being a parent is, and maybe being a wife a little bit too, but definitely being in relationships in general gives you 100 new ways to fail every day. But it also gives you these really cool ways to succeed. Most of the best experiences I've had in my life have been in the context of relationships. And so I think letting go of the need for perfection or for it to look perfect. I certainly don't think I'm a perfect mother, and I'm definitely not a perfect wife, but I think I do the best I can. And this kind of leads me to something that's really important. If you've never heard of this, another thing for you to search out is a great leader out there by the name of Kristen Neff. She's done a lot of research on compassion and self-compassion. And that's one of the things that's really important to realize is that I got to have compassion for myself first, or I'm not going to have compassion for anybody else. So I'm going to have compassion for the days when I'm just, maybe doing my best, but my best isn't very good in regards to being a wife or a mom or whatever it is. I'm really lucky because I got this really cool tribe of people who are out there who'll say, you're pretty great and we love you even when you're not feeling like you're doing your best. And I hope you do too. But that compassion, self-compassion is really important. And so if you're interested, Kristen Neff at selfcompassion.org. It's a great website to check out.
Actually, your blog that you wrote earlier this week is up on the compassion.
Oh, good.
So that's up there, and we'll make sure that we put a link to that in the comments below.
Okay, great.
Awesome. So we're talking about, all the compassion, taking care of yourself. Let's shift to actually taking care of yourself.
Okay.
So what are some tips that you could throw out there for us? We accountants, we're right in the middle of it right now, and I'm sure we have some accountants out there. We have some, whatever you're working in, not only are you having to work, you're having to deal with your kids. What are some things that you could do for yourself to help you?
Mm-hmm.
And, I have a feeling I know where you're going with that. I came out of a meeting this morning and you were doing yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have a blog post on the Digital CPA on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so I had Jay post one of my favorite yoga videos, Yoga for Anxiety, and it's really short. I like things that are short. Like you can find videos out there that are 5 minutes or 7 minutes long, and I really encourage people that don't already have that kind of a practice, whether it's yoga or meditation or whatever, to look for those things that are really short, because it gives you the opportunity to be successful. So yoga I think yoga is a form of meditation. I'm sure some people would, disagree with that, but anytime you're able to move even a little bit and really be conscious of breathing, and that is where all that calming comes from. Your sympathetic nervous system gets reactive under stress, and when you take deep breaths, it does two things. Number one, it floods your body with amazing oxygen that it needs to live. And it also, when your lungs expand fully, it sends this message back up to your brain that says, hey, things are getting better down here. You don't have to send all those chemicals that are saying, warning, warning, things are going wrong. The brain sends messages to the body when you're under stress with different neurotransmitters and hormones that tell your body to go into fight or flight. And when you start to take deep breaths, you start to tell your brain, hey, things are getting better down here. You can settle, which for you, as a really great problem solver, whether your problem solving is in accounting or whatever it is you do, that's in a different part of your brain. And if you can't access those problem solving skills in that front of your brain because that other part of your brain is online, these two centers in your brain can't be online at the same time. So being able to quiet that fear center and really get in that problem solving mode is a great way to take care of yourself, because it allows you to do the great work that you do with the skills that you have and use that great brain you have while calming down that fear response. So that's a great way to take care of yourself.
Right, and if your brain is out of control, you can't calm down to actually do what you need to do and actually be going through the steps and thinking through the problems and coming to a solution. So, right now, the best thing for me is to take care of myself so that when I'm talking to my clients and guiding them through this, whether it's building a plan or helping them get financing or whatever that happens to be, I need to be in my best mind when I'm doing that. And basically be able to think my way through it so that I can be that stress reliever for them, because we want to make sure that when they're going through it, they don't have the stress, because then they are overreacting and not being able to take care of what they need to do. And there's so much going on in their life. Let's try to eliminate some of it.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I've coached you a lot about, but it's really not that different whether you're somebody's accountant or you're somebody's therapist. If I don't keep myself cared for, I'm the tool. So if I don't take care of myself and keep myself well regulated, then I'm not going to be able to help people work through their problems. So it starts with that first. So whether you're an accountant or whether you're a lawyer the most well-regulated people do their work all the time. So when you start noticing that you're irritable all the time, or you're losing your temper a lot, or you're just overreacting to things that maybe on a different day you wouldn't overreact to, that's a really good sign that you need to step up your self-care game.
So this is making me think of one of those early times when you actually were working with me, and we were at a client's office. This was early on. This is early on. And, we've had this conversation in the industry about, the robots are taking over, and, we need to start looking at different things. Well, this is that human element that comes into it. And we were sitting there in this room. There was myself, Wendy, and another team member. Claudia was there. And we're sitting there, and she's talking about her divorce and how much money she owes for taxes. And this was truly the first time I had to deal with a client sitting there crying and having to deal with that. And it really made me self-inflect, because that wasn't who I was at the time. Honestly.
I remember that day, and I still use that story because it really highlighted a big difference between the two of us. And it's one of the things that helps us be successful in our relationship. Jay and I approach money really, really differently. And what we saw sitting there with this client was that she was approaching her money situation, her accounting, as it was very personal. And what I was seeing was this person who was really vulnerable and was embarrassed and felt shame about what she was dealing with in her financial situation. And Jay was really just trying to run the numbers with her. And and his intentions were good, and he was super uncomfortable too that day. I'll never forget that. But I remember saying to him, it's like getting naked. When you talk to he's like, these are just numbers on a page, which is really a discussion Jay and I've had in our marriage for a long time now. We've been married for 15 years, and Jay approaches money like it's numbers on a page. And for me, money's more personal than that. And so that's another great resource. I have a good friend out there, and a really great resource, a lady by the name of Tammy Lawley. She calls herself the Money Coach. She's got incredible money knowledge, but she's got some real understanding of how shame affects that story. So it's really important for you when you're trying to work with your clients, if you're worried about everything that's going on right now and you're feeling like a fraud because you're recommending things for them, but at the same time your business is really kind of struggling because of all the changes that you couldn't control, you're going to have to address those feelings. Maybe not right there in that minute, but ignoring them and pushing them down isn't going to work. They're going to come back. I think they're like toddlers that they're never going to stop running in the room and grabbing your leg. So you're really better off if you just get down on their level and deal with them a little bit, and then things will start to get better. Jay had a hard time dealing with people, but I've really seen you grow in the last, I don't know, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Oh, yeah. And consider the growth from when we started the digital CPA. I couldn't go out and talk to people. I had the hardest time sitting in a networking meeting and giving an elevator speech. And, now here we are today, and, we're sitting here talking to you, and different world, there's so much growth, and it truly is amazing. Prior to this, I was that person behind the scenes. I took care of the website and, making sure the numbers were right. And I didn't want to talk to the customer. I'd take an order, but I didn't have to, deal with it, it was very factual. Now it's, there's heart involved in it, and thought, and, a lot of compassion, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So just want you to, out there, that if you're watching this on a recorded version, please post questions, comments, whatever you might, and we'll be able to answer that as time goes on. And just want to take a moment to say I'm hoping we're going to be able to do this more often. We've talked about this, and we just haven't had a time to get on the same page as far as the schedule. But I think, the next 30 days, I think maybe every Friday we can actually do that and devote to that.
There's nothing like being locked up in the house together all this time to push you outside of your comfort zone.
For sure.
Sienna said that she loves listening to you guys.
Aww,
Well,
hi
thank you,
Sienna.
Little pitch for our friends out there. Tonight, Abby and her friends will be on live, and you might have seen me post about that. And we'll be talking dancing because it's what Abby loves and what de-stresses her. And this was yet another competition weekend that they were supposed to have that's been postponed. So we're going to be talking dancing tonight, and we'll get to that. But last thing, want to ask my wife, what are you doing for your self-help, and what are you doing to just deal with stressors and things like that?
Well, I think what I'm trying to do is I always tell people to go back to the basics or biologics, right? So I'm taking care of anything that addresses my five senses. So we all need to get outside, and I'm trying to get outside, and it's amazing. Like right now in Florida, we're having really beautiful weather, but a couple of days ago it was really hot as snot. So trying to get outside, it's amazing even when you want to, how hard it can be. Trying to get plenty of rest, going to bed at a regular time and getting up at a regular time. It can be really tempting to just stay up late or sleep in. Trying to eat healthy food. It can be tough because sugar is definitely something that's a go-to for me when I get under stress. And so making sure that I get fruits and vegetables and eating regular healthy things. Those basic things are really, really important. But also taking time to just, like I said, have compassion for myself and the people around me, to step back and notice when I'm having a hard time, try to figure out what that's about. Another good resource, if you're on Facebook, Josh Mangro, Magro, is great, and he's doing these great Facebook Lives right now. He's another therapist that we went to the same school, and he's doing some fantastic work out there. So many people are offering really cool things, whether it's yoga videos. Our personal trainer is Andrew Noble at Smart Fitness, and he's doing free online sessions Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for people. There's a lot of great resources out there, so take advantage of some time every day, whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, to just do something for your physical body, to move, put some healthy things in your body. And then I think the last thing is just to not judge your coping strategies. A therapist that I work with, that I talked to last week, was saying how important it is to not judge your coping strategies when maybe you don't choose the best ones. I mean, we've all found ourselves with our hand inside a bag of potato chips going, how did I find myself here? The important thing is to accept that this isn't your favorite choice, but it got you through to the next moment, and move on. Just try to be compassionate for yourself, because most of us are doing the best we can right now.
Yeah, we are. I mean, that's it. For me, I was able to get out and golf yesterday, which was a huge thing, to take a couple hours for myself and do that. And, the other thing that I truly love, and if you know me, I am a NASCAR guy through and through. And when I built my streaming machine last November, when I saw I had to build a PC and have a gaming system, I said, I have to have iRacing. And I bought my membership then, and I just got my steering wheel, and I'm able to actually get out there and try to actually drive a little bit. And I don't know if anybody saw that post I did the other day, but it was about 1 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday evening. The steering wheel was here all day. It was burning a hole in my floor. I had to get that thing set up, put it up on my desk, and it's got feedback through it, so you can feel it as you're turning. And I came through, and that thing, I did not bolt it down, and it got away from me, and I drove right into the pit wall, turned that car over, and I said, that's it, I'm going to bed. So next morning I got up, I drove a couple laps, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have some fun. So I'm going to be able to use some of the creative side, because there will be a digital CPA /0 car that I'm going to be driving, and looking forward to getting that all painted up and logoed up with the Zero logo and the new digital CPA logo. So going to test my Photoshop skills as well. So yeah, that, and you know what? We're racing from Bristol this weekend. It's iRacing with the NASCAR drivers. Going to be on Fox. I'm going to be watching it, and then other than that, going to hang out with my kid. You know, that's truly it. Spend time with Abby, and although we're going to go for a bike ride tomorrow. We try to take Abby for a bike ride. So no, I'm not into that. So we're going to go and do it. Get out and get some exercise, and we'll see where it takes us.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said earlier, if you have any questions, post them in there. We'll take care of that, answer that. And please stop TikToking over there, Abby. You have a job to do.
I can see it out of the corner of my eye. She's doing that thing they do.
She is. So, all right, with that, I want to say have a great weekend. I am going to come back starting Monday morning at 7 a.m., I think, on Jay Kimmelman on my regular profile, and just do a Java with Jay, talk about whatever's going on in the news that morning, and just hash out whatever's going on that day. Hit the news from the night before, whatever's in the email box, and then we'll jump into our regular 3:30 in the afternoon talking about this on the digital CPA. So thank you, Wendy. Appreciate it. Looking forward to next Friday. And that's it. We're out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody.